I'm back, baby. Welcome back to Movies TV Mag. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mag and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mag X. A very warm welcome to Sunday's edition of the Movies TV Mag Daily. Yes, it's been a huge week to be a Superman fan as James Gunn's Superman film continues to shoot outside on location, purposely showing us a lot of things. We've seen Superman's costume. I spoke about earlier this week how I don't like the design. They can't fix the design in post. It can be less baggy because there will be differences because it is an on-location filming version of the costume, and I get that. But it's still going to look how it's going to look. We've seen great Daily Planet articles like Superman, doing something nice for a cancer sufferer. Lots of interesting things. Mr. Terrific looks great, but then you'd have to be a pretty bad costume designer to get that costume wrong at the end of the day. But the most interesting thing about what we saw was David Corenswet's Clark Kent disguise. Yeah, James Gunn has done the typical Superman fan thing in the 21st century. Addressed the problem of Clark Kent being a shit disguise. Jules Reeves with glasses. Dean Cain with glasses. I don't think Christopher Reeve was Christopher Reeve with glasses because he puts on that persona and it works. He changes who he is. It would be hard to try and, if you hadn't seen Superman up close, Lois Lane, should she really know? Probably. But anyway, I think Christopher Reeve's disguise, his movement, is a proper disguise. Tom Welling wearing the glasses in later Smallville, Tom Welling just wearing the glasses. So I think the disguise has never been very good. But David Corenswet's Clark Kent disguise, in terms of a disguise, is very, very good. The hair's curly, it's very different, he's hunched. You would not recognize him. He doesn't look like the same person. Now, a lot of people are criticizing that look and saying, it's like Henry Cavill. It's just Henry Cavill with the glasses. Let's not be fucking stupid here. Anyone's going to know that Henry Cavill's Superman and Clark Kent are the fucking same person. Now, I love Henry's Superman. I thought Henry's Clark was cool, but let's par bias to one side. So I think, look, in terms of Clark Kent's shit disguise, I've always kind of let my imagination depart from reality on it and think, do you know what? Does it really fucking matter? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's not a good disguise. I love the character of Clark Kent. I love the different versions of him. Clark on the farm, Clark in Metropolis. But in terms of the character and the name being a disguise, it's an interesting idea. But in terms of film, it's never been executed, apart from the Christopher Reeve one, where you can say, yeah, it's a proper disguise because of his behaviour. The rest of them are just those actors. It's just Clark in the glasses. And as I say, with Henry Cavill, you can definitely tell, you can definitely tell they're the same person. So I think it's very, very interesting. That's one thing I won't criticise. As I say, some people are criticising how different he looks, but I think it's a good thing. I don't think you can really say that this is a bad thing. You're going to see a really different caricature as Clark Kent and a very different caricature as Superman, as we did in Superman 78. The difference being that this Clark Kent in this film will also look dramatically different. And personally, I think it's an excellent idea. It's a shame I don't like the suit so much, but the Superman Returns costume grew on me, and we'll see. Right now, I can't send any cope out there about the costume. It is what it is. As I said the other day, it doesn't mean I'm not going to like the movie. We'll see. It only matters what the costume looks like when we see the film. That's the important thing. So we will see. But I don't like the material, I don't really like the design, if I'm being honest. But we don't really know the details of the movie yet, so we'll wait and see until we know what's going on, for sure. But I was very, very interested. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for, these location shoots, because this is what happened with Superman Returns and Man of Steel. It got very, very exciting. And this is what Superman fans live and breathe for. A movie, a Superman movie on location. Seeing all these different things, seeing a bald Lex Luthor with bruises all over or cuts all over himself as well. There's a lot of things that we have seen. You know, there's Rick Flag Sr. I didn't realise Rick Flag Sr. was going to be in this movie. So Rick Flag Sr. standing alongside Superman. Superman gets arrested, which is interesting as well. There's another character dressed all in black. Some people theorising that that may be Henry Cavill, which would be absolutely fucking insane, but we'll see. Very, very unlikely, but anything's possible in the world of movie magic. And you know, that's kind of an evil version of Superman, I think, or kind of thing, Ultraman, or they're using another name, which I can't remember. So very, very interesting. We're seeing a lot of interesting, exciting things with the location shoot. But for me, the most interesting thing was the Clark Kent disguise. It did floor me. I didn't expect him to go that way. But I think it's about time somebody addressed it. As I say, I can depart with reality and, you know, just use my imagination. It's fine. But in terms of the characters in the film or films, it's never seemed believable. So to have a proper disguise and have him look nothing like Superman is a good thing. It's Gunn thinking outside the box. And as I said, this isn't really something to get your, you know, panties in a bunch about. You know, and I know there's certain fans are not going to waste any opportunity. I understand that. Good luck to you. I feel you. I feel you. But I've got to be honest. If I like something, I like something. And at the end of the day, I really like that. I like that idea. Because it brings believability to what they're doing. So yes, Superman gets arrested by Ultraman and Rick Flag Sr. The Rick Flag Sr. character is going to be very, very interesting. And it's interesting that he's in this movie. I think what I can say at the very least about Gunn's Superman movie, I think this film's going to have a lot of levels to it. And it will be interesting. I think there's going to be so many Easter eggs, like All-Star Superman, different comic book Easter eggs, for sure. I believe that Supergirl will be in this movie. I still believe that Batman, whoever, you know, the DCU Batman's going to be, will be in this movie. They may not reveal the actor under the cape, but I think we're going to get a lot in this movie. So there are things we can say, the costume, yeah, you know, all this, all that. But on the other side of it, there are things to be excited about. So listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm as excited about as many things as I'm uncomfortable about. Because there's no hiding it, my opinion on the costume. There's no hiding it. I don't really like it. But if I see it in the film, and at the end of the day, call me old-fashioned if you like, we should be judging it in the movie, right? And I know what people are saying. You know, Henry Cavill's suit looked pretty similar to what it did in the film. On location, Christopher Reeve, I get that. I agree with you. I agree with you. The suit isn't for me right now. But as I say, the Superman, I despise the Superman Returns costume at first. I didn't like how it made Brandon look small. All that job he did in the gym, you couldn't tell because of the costume. But it grew on me. And I think right now, with the bagginess of that costume, David Corenswet has the same issue. We know how fucking ripped he got. Hugely ripped, and it was exciting. But you can't tell how ripped he is really in that costume. So we're sick. As I say, the most important thing is how it all looks when the film's out. This doesn't matter. Absolutely not. Some people will take opportunities to be negative about this film, and I understand, but I also don't like people telling people, you know, if you don't like the Superman costume, you're not a fan. If you're not supporting James Gunn's Superman film, you're not a Superman fan. Listen, it's not about support. I don't owe James Gunn any support. He owes me a great movie. Give me a great movie, I'll give him every plaudit he deserves. If I feel he hasn't given me a great movie, then I'll say so. I believe, potentially, with what he's planning here, from what I can see and what people are telling me, we could get a really good Superman film with different levels. This is not the 78 movie, this is not Man of Steel, this is not Returns, it's not just going to be Superman, Lois, Jimmy, Perry, boom, and Lex. There's a lot of levels to this movie because they are launching a franchise with it. And that's why you're going to see Rick Flag and Guy Gardner. I mean, I hope I see Guy Gardner and Rick Flag Sr. in the same scene. Imagine, that would be amazing. I mean, that would be fucking brilliant to see those two in the same, same screen together. So there's a lot of exciting things. There's things where you think red flag, we'll see, we'll wait. But certainly, there's as many good things on the on-location shoots that we've seen as things that you kind of think, I don't know. But as I say, it's going to be a very different, there's no question. He's doing something different. And at the end of the day, I congratulated Nolan, Goyer and Snyder for doing something contemporary and different with Man of Steel. I've got Superman 78. I don't need that film again. It's not the time to do another Superman 78. So I must congratulate Gunn for at least attempting to doing something a little bit contemporary and a little bit different. If you're a Snyderverse stan, if you're a Man of Steel fan and you love how modern that movie is, you can't really criticize Gunn for doing his own thing. I hear all the arguments about Man of Steel. Well, Man of Steel's great, it's contemporary, it's doing its own thing, it's not doing the same thing as 1978, which is great. Smallville the same, a very contemporary version of a pre-Superman story. So if we congratulate those versions of Superman for doing their own thing and being utterly, brilliantly contemporary, we can't really criticize Gunn for doing the same. Otherwise, we end up being hypocrites. So yeah, every day we're seeing something different. I mean, on my Twitter feed, it's fucking amazing. I must admit, it's amazing to see all these different things, whether I like them or not. It is interesting to see what they're doing with this movie. Like, when all the characters are coming out that spaceship or whatever, what the fuck is that? What's going on? That's interesting, right? Listen, if it is another alien invasion, I do kind of think, again. But we'll see how Gunn handles it. Because as I say, a very different Superman movie, unlike what we've seen before. What are Gunn's qualities? Because I've spoken about Gunn being a capable writer-director, but not being one of the best out there. What are his qualities? He's out there. He understands the comics, but his style of filmmaking and storytelling is very different. He's not like the rest of them making films today. He does believe in great movies. He's a fan of the movies of yesteryear. That's something I really appreciate about James Gunn, because it's all about balance for me, right? I can say things that I don't like about him as a filmmaker, but then I have to come in and be balanced. Otherwise, we're not running a proper place here, are we? At the end of the day, we have to be balanced. And I think there's a lot of unbalanced people who don't want to be balanced about things and, just want to, a lot of people make content, they shout, they scream, they hate, and it makes a lot of money for them. I'm not going to do that. I'm a Superman fan. I want this movie to be great. I want it to succeed, not for James Gunn, but for Superman and DC. We need a great DC universe. So if his ideas are great and he executes them in the right way and I can enjoy what he's doing, why the fuck not? I always appreciate the Snyderverse, the Donnerverse, the Singer One Movieverse, Smallville. You know, the Dark Knight, look, I could go on. It's not one or the other. So we will see. But for sure, what we're seeing on the on-location shooting is extremely interesting. And we'll see how the movie, you know, it could either be bad, great, mid, don't know. You can't make a prediction. You can be excited about it, right? And I'll go back to the people saying, oh, you know, you've got to like the suit. No, you don't. You don't have to like anything, right? If you genuinely don't like that costume, you're not a bad person. You're not a toxic fan for not liking that costume. If you do like the costume, that's fine too. But if you like the costume and have a go at people who don't like the costume, you're not in the good place of history. You know, if you hate the costume and have a go at people who like it, you're not a good part of history, right? Have your opinion, stand by it, but if you change your mind, it doesn't make you a flip-flop. You're allowed to do whatever you fucking want. And don't let other people dictate what you do and don't do. Because I've said I don't like the costume, but if I see it in the film and I fucking like it, I'm going to have the fucking balls, because I've got big fucking balls, to say, yeah, I like it now. And if people call me a flip-flop, they can call me a flip-flop. It's up to them. I'm in charge of my own views. You are in charge of your own views. And they can be any fucking view that you want. But yes, the most impressive thing is the Clark Kent disguise. And yes, I'm going to admit to you, I like it. I like it that what this shows you is that Gunn is thinking very deeply about this movie. He could have been utterly lazy and gone, shove the glasses on him. It doesn't matter. But Gunn is proving that he's thinking about this character in this movie very, very deeply. So it's going to be interesting at the very least. And I am a Superman fan, as you all know. I think it's very exciting when a Superman film is being made. When Superman Returns was being made, I was utterly excited and hyped. Man of Steel. And this is exciting too. And, you know, it's about, well, we're nearly around a year, just over a year, till this movie is released. But I think we can't talk about Superman 2025 without Fantastic Four 2025, which I think is the biggest threat, along with the Jurassic World movie, to Superman being successful. There is no question that Kevin Feige, Disney and Marvel Studios understand that they are fucked up, and Fantastic Four could be a way to save the MCU. And Kevin Feige has made a big announcement this week that Fantastic Four will be set in the 60s. Now, I think that's huge. New York in the 60s, I think, but not a realistic New York. Interesting. This is huge. This makes this movie even more interesting to me. Making it a period piece is interesting to me as well. I would have loved to have seen a period piece Superman movie as well. So there's no question. If they make a good fucking MCU movie after all these fucking years, that is a competitor to Superman. And you can go and watch both movies. I don't know how close together they're being released, but pretty close at this moment in time. They could be moved, they might not be moved. Who the fuck knows? But, you know, it's clear, you know, this is not good for WB, because Marvel are now in a position where they have to make a great movie. And of course, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to make a lot of money. But, you know, to solidify the MCU and to say the MCU's back, they need a great Fantastic Four movie. Fantastic Four is one of the biggest IPs that Marvel have. And if they can solidify that and make it a great movie, they can say they're actually back. So I think Fantastic Four is a big threat to next year's Superman. I mean, next year is a huge year for movies. This year has been very, very quiet. There's a few out there, but really, it's not a big year for movies. Next year is when all the big blockbusters are going to be released. It's going to be utterly, utterly very exciting, because Superman is one of those blockbusters, and it has to make a lot of money. Now, I've predicted around 550, but if it's a special movie and it captures the imagination, my prediction could go out the window. We will see. It'll be very interesting what Fantastic Four makes as well. And which movie does better, Fantastic Four or Superman? This is a huge competition. You know, battle of the superhero movies, battle of the blockbusters like the good old days next year. Maybe Hollywood could actually be back next year. So it's very, very exciting as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I did want to discuss Fantastic Four because I think it definitely kind of connects to the success or lack thereof of success for Superman. You know, this is a huge film, and if it's successful, James Gunn's reputation will go up. If it's not successful, his reputation will go down. I don't necessarily think his reputation is as high as it was after the first Guardians. I don't think that. I don't think he's in the toilet, and Guardians 3 did very, very well. People loved it and he made a lot of money, but I don't think the rep is as high as it used to be. And a successful DCU, a successful Superman can take James Gunn's reputation beyond where it's ever been before. So it's all very, very interesting. But yeah, and is it, look, all the debates we've had this week about the costume, about Clark Kent's disguise, about what we're seeing, some people are just ready to embrace everything, and some people are looking for any excuse to hate everything, and some people are like, you know, should we just wait to see the film? I know that's a little bit old-fashioned, but it's true, isn't it? The best way to judge this film is to go and watch it in the cinema. Because if you're going to go and watch it, some people are boycotting the movie. Good luck to you. I wouldn't tell you to go and watch something you don't want to do. That's up to you. But me personally, I will be going to watch this movie. And if I love it, I'll be going back again and again to watch it. If I don't like it, I won't be watching it on repeat. That's the way it works for me. But yeah, we don't owe James Gunn support. James Gunn owes us a great movie. You know, this is a misconception amongst fans and Hollywood today, that we, you know, we owe them our support. No. If I ask for a jam sponge cake, you better make me the loveliest, sweetest jam sponge cake. Because if you put salt in it instead of fucking sugar, then I ain't going to eat it. I'm going to rub it in your fucking face, and I'm going to want my money back as well as some. More money back. Do you know what I mean? The consumer doesn't owe his bitch anything. You're our bitch, make a great product, and we'll reward you with success and plaudits and great reviews and things like that. But if you make a bad movie, then you have to eat humble pie. There's a lot of criticism of people criticising The Acolyte right now. I mean, in terms of the audience scores, they're unreliable. I'm sorry. And it's not just The Acolyte. Audience scores have been unreliable for a very fucking long time. It's as simple as that. Because there are people messing with them. And it's no different to the critic scores. You know, as utterly, preposterously positive those reviews and those Rotten Tomatoes scores are. So basically, the official critic scores are as unreliable as the audience scores, right? You can't trust either. So when I see a low audience score for The Acolyte, it doesn't mean anything to me. I've seen clips of The Acolyte, it looks shit. It doesn't look like it was made for me. I don't know who it was made for, but whoever it was made for, I hope you're fucking enjoying it. Because it's not my cup of tea. But yeah, big year next year, loads of blockbusters, very exciting, and we're going to see James Gunn's Superman. And we're going to see what the fuss is about, because this is another reset. In a lot of ways, this is another DCEU reset, as I've said many, many times. We had, when Snyder was driven away, we had Bergen Johns, and then we had Hamada. And now this is Gunn and Safran. It's another reset. You can call it the DCU as much as you want. It's another DCEU reset. There's no question about that. Is this the same thing, or are they going to do something good and different and something that works? Because James Gunn is a good writer-director, there's a chance that we do get good ideas and a great way to execute a great DCU. But I don't know. These are the question marks out there. And until we see the film, we will not know. So there's no point, boys and girls and everybody else, arguing about whether this film is any good. We're all still upset that Henry was brought back and removed. It was outrageous. The way he was treated before that was outrageous. The way Zack Snyder was treated was outrageous. We can debate that in different videos until the cows come home. But I'm not going to rob myself of a Superman film just because of those issues. Because there's going to come a time in 15 years where it won't be viable for Zack or Henry or anyone to come back anyway. And I think at the end of the day, it's very unlikely the Snyderverse is restored, but I support anyone fighting to restore the Snyderverse. Absolutely. Great universe. Absolutely loved it. Not for everyone, but I thought it was great. So I respect you for fighting it, defending it. I think it's great. And we'll see what James Gunn does. But yeah, I have marveled this week at the different things we've seen on location. Creatively, it's a lot more different than I expected, especially the Clark Kent disguise. That really, really did surprise me. It's the level of someone saying the Clark Kent disguise is shit, we've got to make it more believable, and that's what James Gunn has done here. And I applaud him for that. Yeah, because Clark Kent isn't supposed to look cool anyway. I mean, you look at Henry Cavill's Clark Kent. He looks like Henry Cavill, he's beautiful. But you can tell who that is, right? That's the point. Clark Kent at the Daily Planet is supposed to be a disguise. He's there first of all, so he can hear when there's trouble, so he can become Superman and save the day. It's a disguise. And most of the versions in live action haven't been a great disguise. One thing we can say, aesthetically, David Cornsweet's Clark Kent is the best Clark Kent disguise ever. So I do appreciate someone going, yeah, I'm going to do something about this. This is stupid. It's just a guy in glasses. Where he's gone is, yeah, now we've changed that. That's one plot hole we've filled up, we've covered up. And I think it's great. And I'm not going to pretend I don't like it. Because I do like it. It's a good thing. There are good things about this movie. There are things I kind of think, I don't get about this movie. But there are also very, very exciting things about this movie. Will this movie have any hype? Will this movie be successful? These are the questions we're all asking. And as I say, with Fantastic Four coming out next year and Jurassic World coming out, and the castings of Jurassic World have been huge. So definitely Superman is under pressure. That's why I predicted 550. Because there's going to be a lot out there. There's going to be a lot of competition. It isn't just about Superman. And the truth is that Superman hasn't brought in a lot of customers in the past few years. We look at Superman Returns, which didn't even make 400 million. Man of Steel did 670, which was respectable. Studio wanted more, as we've discussed many times. Batman v Superman almost did 900 million, but then dropped hugely the following week. So Superman hasn't been... I don't think Superman, as much as I love him, is that character that automatically brings in big box office. But if Gunn has made a great movie, or is making a great movie, then that can change. But I think it is difficult for Superman next year because of the competition. I think that's the problem they have. It's a big year because of the strikes. There's been lots of delays, so a lot of films are coming out next year. Some big films. This year isn't really a big year for big films. Although really excited for Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux. Still waiting to see that movie. I cannot wait. This October, bring it the fuck on. I think that's the highlight of this year, if you like. But next year is huge. And yes, Superman is under the needle. It's got a lot of competition. I think the only way it can break financial expectations if it's a better movie than people thought it was going to be. And that's something we simply don't know. But yes, I think we're going to get more revelations on location, and as soon as they happen, I'll be here at Movies TV Mad to report on them and to react on them.